we'll talk about the Sadie Sink news. Now, obviously, this has been, I don't know, maybe the biggest news that came out this week. Certainly the piece of news that most people have been talking about. And this had to do with Deadline. The Hollywood trades dropping a big-time scoop, man. Big-time scoop in the Hollywood trades that Sadie Sink has joined the cast of Spider-Man 4. She's not in talks. She is set to co-star with Tom Holland in Spider-Man 4. Now, the article itself dropped Jean Grey as a distinct possibility for this character and this appearance. And this is, I think, partially because Jeff Snyder had been scooping that Sink was being looked at for the new Jean Grey. Okay. So when last we met our heroes, we were sort of discussing the possibility of her being Jean Grey. There were all sorts of other possibilities out there. People talking about Firestar, people talking about Rachel Summers, Hope Summers, all sorts of stuff. Well, yesterday, My Time to Shine Hello came out and said 100% confirmed Sadie Sink is not playing Jean Grey. That's pretty interesting. And later on, this was corroborated by Jeff Snyder. On the Hot Mic podcast, he basically admitted that she will not be playing Jean Grey. And in fact, Jeff took it further. Jeff said he heard she's playing Mary Jane Watson. Which I just want to say, before we get into any of the other stuff, because there's good stuff here. There's actually stuff that I'm excited about. There's potential ways that this could cook. There's potential ways this could be really cool. The reality is this is lame. I'm sorry, it is. This is the lamest choice possible out of all of the choices, and it's an example of Marvel Studios once again doing something, grabbing up a big actor, us getting way excited about it, and every single thing the fans came up with is so much cooler than what Marvel Studios is doing. What the actual F? However, with that being said, because it needs to be said, this is fucking lame. Comparatively, okay? It needs to be said. However, a couple interesting things going on there. So, within the context of what Jeff was saying last night, because I watched that segment of the show last night, it's fascinating because he talks about how this is going to happen in a world that, like, Doom creates, in a world where RDJ could be Doctor Doom, and he describes this idea of, oh, we're just in this world. Wait, who's that? Oh, it's Mary Jane? But we had a Mary Jane. That's not Mary Jane. And Jeff was sort of implying that the surprise of this, or the shock of this, was a part of the plot. That this is meant to be a shocking thing. You know, another thing we heard, this is a rumor for Spider-Man 4, which at this point, man, we have heard so many rumors for Spider-Man 4. It's like hard to keep track of them, and it's hard to know what is real and what is not, right? And the truth is, this movie has changed a lot. So there's stuff that's probably true at one time that has now changed. Whatever. The point is, this movie being on Battleworld or dealing with a completely separate universe really does seem to be caked into the plot. There was this other scoop that Marissa Tomei as Aunt May is going to pop back up. And that's another thing. Like, basically, guys, to me, it feels like a lot of these insiders keep saying that part of the flavor of this movie is going to be created by this new universe and how different it is from the universe we've seen before. And so a lot of multiversal surprises are going to happen to Peter in this film, and it's meant to shock the audience. Like, the audience is meant to be like, oh, what? Like that over and over again. That's the appeal. That's kind of like what they're looking for. So I thought this was fascinating because Jeff is describing Battleworld. Now, Jeff, again, last night in the podcast, goes into this whole diatribe about how he's allergic to realities and multiverse and all this nerdy stuff. So, look, we know that about Jeff. He doesn't... It really just stops at, like, what he hears. He can't properly speculate on this stuff because he's not a nerd, and he's allergic to some of the more deeper elements, right? But, nonetheless, it's interesting to hear that even Jeff is being told by his sources that this is a new universe and that this Sadie Sink, Mary Jane Watson thing is attached to that new universe, and that is a part of what is supposed to shock fans when they watch the movie. So in a lot of the ways, this does track with other rumors and things that we have thought about. I got to tell you, I still don't love it, and I personally hope that it's more than just this. You know, I really hope it's more than just, oh, look, Jean Grey, like in comics and like in the other Spider-Man movies. You know, Mary Jane Watson. That's crazy. MJ's here in this movie. I think I started saying Jean Grey there, but that's the point, right? That's not really that interesting or compelling. So I hope there's more to it, because there could be more to it. They could be cooking. It could be the fact that she's a hero. It could be the fact that in a different universe, she became Spider-Man. That's kind of interesting. A little Gwenpool, Spider-Gwen action. That could be wild. I hope they really cook with this. And it's not just like a gimmicky, oh, it's Mary Jane, but we're slowly supposed to realize that's not actually Mary Jane and we shouldn't have that. I mean, she's the co-lead of the movie. So she's a massive part of the film. And of course, there's a lot of mystery here. But dude, if you put a list of possibilities here, Mary Jane is the worst one, the lamest one, and the one that I just don't understand. So don't love this. Don't love it. Now, one thing I will say that's kind of interesting that could potentially help this is we've also heard that this movie's supposed to take a crazy radical shift and be a little bit more even like the Batman as far as like tonally and how it's dealing with its main character. And Peter's supposed to go dark, basically. Okay? So Peter's supposed to go dark, and he's supposed to potentially have the black suit, the symbiote, and all that, right? So that together with traditional Mary Jane Watson, like, okay, I could start to see that. Like, maybe there's something with that going on with this version of Mary Jane. But ultimately, if this just amounts to like a monkey paw kind of a twist here, I think it's lame and I think it's stupid. But I also got to let him cook. I mean, there's so much we don't even know about this film. And the Battleworld aspect, I think, is really interesting. And maybe the takeaway from this story should be more that even Jeff is starting to hear of this Battleworld thing, and like it really seems like that's what it is. But that's what we know for now. Now, I do want to say I did technically have somebody come out and say behind the scenes that Jeff's not quite right about this. I don't know what that means though, and it's not like anybody's coming out to hard debunk the Mary Jane Watson thing. There obviously has to be context here because Zendaya is MJ, and I know she's Michelle Jones, but like everybody in the world sees how that could be potentially problematic, or at the very least, like not make any fucking sense, right? So we'll see, man. We'll see how all of that goes. But wow. Last thing I want to say on this is Jean Grey would have been better. I cannot believe they're not doing Jean Grey. What is happening? Obviously, Jean Grey would have been much better. So, there you have it. Your update about Sadie Sink and about the role that she's playing. According to Jeff Snyder, Mary Jane Watson. I personally think there has to be more to it. You know what I mean? Like, I personally think there has to be more to it. An element we're missing, something we're not understanding, and I think that'll become more clear as we get to it. So, quite weird. Yeah, let that sink in. Shall you? Let it Sadie sink in.
Thanks for watching. And if you like this clip, smash a like on the actual video and subscribe to this channel. That way more of these clips get into your feed. I've also linked the full episode below if you want to check out the entire thing, including the Q&A we do with fans. You can also watch this show live. We do it live Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And you can also find all of my content, including the videos I put on my main YouTube channel, on the podcast feed.